All right, welcome back, everybody. My name is Jack Paisley, and welcome back to the Sports Casual. I apologize for being away. I was on a hunting trip out in Wisconsin, so got to experience the Packer love firsthand. Got to see why the Packers are what they are in that part of the country, because there is nothing else to do out there. Back for Monday Night Football. As you can see, I'm repping my Denver Broncos. It is a great day to be a Broncos fan. Tonight, the Broncos played the Browns, excuse me, and got the win 41-32. Super exciting game the whole time. But my Broncos got the dub, thank God. Did their best to scare me. Had I'll be honest, the Browns were in the position to come back at the end of the game and I was sweating it. I did not feel confident that my defense could stop them. I watched Jerry Jeudy, who was such a letdown with the Broncos, just could not catch the ball, with him in the chest every time and drop it. I watched him run all over my Broncos, which go to figure, right? I'm sure Russell Wilson is doing the same thing out in Pittsburgh. Just screw the Broncos in their mind, but we get the last laugh. We get the win. My main takeaways from the game, I thought Bo and the offense looked pretty good. He had a couple of silly, just dumb picks throughout the whole game where he was basically just throwing up prayers, but he also made some big plays. Hit that, I think it was 93-yard bomb to Marvin Mims, and yeah, made the plays that we needed to have. Him and Cortland Sutton balled out tonight. They're definitely building some chemistry between the two of them, so you love to see that. Jaleel McLaughlin is kind of looking like our new bell cow back. Him and Estime, which is the new rookie they brought in this year, has kind of solidified those starting two spots over Javonte Williams, who just ever since he blew out his ACL, I think 2 or 3 years ago, just really hasn't come back the same. And Jaleel made some killer plays that just helped us get to that dub. But I think the story from this game is the Broncos defense just did not play great, but they made those plays when we needed to. We got those two pick sixes. One basically sealed the game for us at the very end when the Browns were on the 1 yard line. And I think it was Cody Barton, if I remember, took it all the way back to the house. I was sitting right next to a Browns fan watching that whole game, and it just sucked the life out of him. That It was just great to see. It was a super fun game, high scoring. Jameis Winston had like 500 yards or just under, I believe, at the end of the game. 4 touchdowns, two picks, both of which were a pick six, and that's kind of how I figured it coming in. Jameis Winston is a scary player to play against because he can throw 5 touchdowns or he could throw 5 interceptions. You never really know. I mean, as a sports casual, you gotta love watching that dude play because he is gonna let it rip and f the consequences. Whatever happens, happens, and that's basically what you saw today. I mean, I thought Bo was a little more calm and cool and collected than Jameis, but obviously he wasn't getting those big yard after catches that Jameis was enjoying that whole day with Judy, and then a couple. I think it was Elijah Moore had a couple as well. That just not a lot of defense the whole game, but Broncos came up clutch at the end. I was a little confused by the Broncos' defensive plan at the end of the day. I thought that Vance Joseph was going to just basically lock up Jerry Jeudy with Pat Surtain the whole game. I mean, you got the number one cornerback in the league right now, and essentially Jerry Jeudy was that whole offense. He had like over half of their yards and touchdowns. That I was a little confused why the Broncos weren't just locking him up, because I think if you had taken away Jerry Jeudy early on, that game isn't particularly close. It felt close the whole time just because that offense was humming for the Browns throughout that whole game. Not a lot of run game though. It felt basically like Jameis was dropping back every single play and chucking it downfield. Basically a wide open receiver. I mean, the Nick Chubb touchdown, you could just see the Broncos were not on the same page, and it was about as easy as a passing touchdown as you can see in the league nowadays, that no one was even in the vicinity of Chubb or started covering him. So don't love to see that, but at the end of the day, a win's a win. And yeah, if I'm playing the Browns going forward, if I'm a playoff team, they're a sleeper team. I felt like this was gonna get be a little bit of a getcha game for the Broncos, where we're riding high off all this hype behind Bo and the offense and just the team itself. So I thought it was gonna be a little bit of a gotcha game, and we got close. I mean, we definitely scared the true Denver Broncos fans, but we got through it. So if you're playing the Browns at the end of this year, I mean they are not an easy team. Their defense is solid. You got Denzel Ward out there, got a pick tonight. Miles Garrett's obviously still a first ballot Hall of Famer. That if their offense could keep doing what they're doing, they're going to be a tough team. And going into next year, if I'm the Browns, I'm letting Jameis be my starting quarterback and maybe drafting a guy. But I mean, with the whole dead cap hit for Deshaun, that they're going to give him every opportunity to basically be that starting quarterback that they thought they were buying for that contract. And then for the Broncos going forward, we're right in that playoff picture. It's really tight in the AFC. We're competing against like the Ravens, Chargers, who we're going to play again. So we really need that. That could be a game that decides who goes to the playoffs at this point. But as a Broncos fan who is semi biased on this issue, but who isn't? We all have our teams. This is the first Broncos quarterback in a little bit that I've been tentative to say might be a long term solution. I've watched many a quarterback come in after Peyton, whether that's Brock Osweiler, Trevor Simeon, Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock, all these guys come through. Russell Wilson obviously basically screwed my franchise more than anybody else between Super Bowls and now dead cap money. The I think we're nearing that anointment of we might be out of the quarterback carousel. Fingers crossed, because it's just tough when you don't have one. But so far we're looking good with Bo. I think going forward, we're a tough out just because our defense is so good. I think we gotta get a little healthy. Like I think Riley Moss, who's our number two cornerback, was a big injury loss for this week. I thought it made that game feel way tighter. They were targeting our fourth or fifth string cornerback the whole time. That I think we really need him back on there, but you got to feel good about Nick Benito and then Jonathan Cooper, who are our two edge rushers. I mean, one of them had a pick as well as a sack that I believe was a pick six actually. So uh, you just you'd love to see that. He's got to be in the defensive player of the year category with Pat Surtain, who Pat had an okay game. Didn't give up any crazy big plays when he was targeted, but going forward, we gotta get out from under this Russell Wilson contract, and then yeah, just surround Bo with some talent. Like we got Cortland Sutton, and then Mims has been flashing every now and then. I like that we're using him more like a Debo Samuel kind of player. I think that's the way you just gotta get him the ball in his hands. I don't think he's a true receiver at this point in his career. But we gotta get some weapons. Our tight ends have not been great historically since basically Julius Thomas left, if I remember right. Maybe Jason Tammy was in there or Jacob Tammy. So we just gotta surround him. I think our O line has been playing really well, but we gotta get a solid run game, which we did tonight, and then just some receivers. But you got to feel good about that. It was a super fun game, high scoring, exciting down to the very end. And yeah, just a great start to the week of football this week, and then uh, just keep the good vibes going for the Broncos. So that's kind of my take on the Monday night football game. Again, I apologize for the delay after uh, going to the great state of Wisconsin. And thank you for being on this journey with me. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sports Casual.